Okay, now it's time for the manga industry to panic. Now it's time to look and say, whoa, things are starting to really look a little bit grim. Not to mention, My Hero Academia fans are not going to be happy with what I gotta tell you guys is going down with the future of the franchise. A pretty significant series that a lot of people have been waiting for to get an anime is finally going down. Controversy about the amount of actors playing roles in anime. Drama between the unofficial Weekly Shonen Jump Twitter account and supereyepatchwolf over on YouTube. And so much more on this episode of the only news source that provides anything and everything anime and manga related. We don't bore you. We get into it. Let's do it. Okay, people, so you're going to want to make sure you subscribe before we jump into this story because, yes, as things continue, I'm going to keep on the post, giving you guys updates on what's going down in the world of anime and manga. You can always count on FORNEVERNEWS, so hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, get all notifications. Make sure that you get notified because, yeah, I'm going to give you guys the updates as things progress. But this story right here, you're going to probably be like, yo, FORNEV, what's going on now, right? Like, I'm continuing on the saga of reporting on how things are changing, how things are going up, things are going down. This one right here, it caught me off guard for a minute because I'm not even gonna lie, one of the biggest things, and I think a lot of you guys can agree with me, that we've been looking at as like, okay, this is going to be the safe haven, this is going to be the outlet for the future of Weekly Shonen Jump magazine, and just in general, even the style that they're going for moving forward with how they release manga, market it, package it, all of that stuff. Stuff like Kaiju number 8, it's crazy, dog. It's doing gangbusters, right? Kaiju number 8 is huge. All of these series that are blowing up out of nowhere really, really quick, it's crazy because most of the time, in case you don't know, usually what happens historically with a manga is it starts off and it continues to build. It goes from, let's just say 5,000 sales, 10,000 sales, 20,000 sales, and then when it gets an anime, it skyrockets even further, and then little by little, towards the end of its life cycle, it starts to kind of fizzle out. It starts to basically go into a decline, so to speak, and then usually if it had an anime, that's when they'll decide, okay, we're gonna wrap up the anime. Like, that's usually been the process. Now, in case you don't know, it's been obviously changing. They're doing different things. We got stuff like Demon Slayer where the manga ends and the anime continues, but one of the biggest things is that there's been this really, really fast surgence of series that are popular. They become popular very, very quick. Again, series that are in Shonen Jump Plus have lately just been breaking all the rules. Stuff like Kaiju number 8, Spy Family, a lot of these different series are exploding. And yet one of the things that I'm noticing, and I didn't realize up until now, is things aren't all up and up as we thought. Because shout out to Jose_Ke over on Twitter for always providing these graphs and this information. Really, really informative dude. You should check him out. He put out a latest update on the sales figures for Kaiju number 8. Kaiju number 8, as of the recording of this video, has, I believe, 6 volumes out in circulation, but it's been a monster, no pun intended, or maybe it was intended subconsciously. I don't freaking know. It's been a monster of sales that each volume is just unbelievable with the sales. And it says here, from what he said, one of the newest Jump Plus hits, Kaiju number 8, this is its evolution, an insane fast rise that I think has led to reach, for the most part, an early sales peak. No doubt the series will continue selling like a monster despite the little down. And I'll be honest with you, looking at it right here, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So it starts off volume 1, a little over 200,000 sales. Off the rip, it's already like, yo, how do you come out the gate swinging that big? Like, that means that a lot of readers really, really were anticipating this because they enjoyed what they read, with the chapters as they were coming out in the magazine over there, Jump Plus, the digital magazine. Then volume 2, the sales literally double. And that's where automatically I'm looking at it like, yo, what is going on here? This is a literal freak of nature. It did over 500,000. And then volume 3 does over 600,000. Volume 4 matches it, almost same amount. But then here's where the problematic aspect comes in, is that from volume 4, it's dipping. It went from volume 4 at over 600,000, volume 5 less than that, volume 6 less than that one, and that could literally fall into the term. I remember I read a comic a long time ago. It was a Flash comic. It was called Live Fast, Die Young, and that could very well be the case with these series. And maybe Shonen Jump and Shueisha might have not, put this into account, that, dog, these series are blowing up and exploding humongously, like going crazy with these numbers. eventually they have to, peak. And even though, yes, there are new manga and anime fans every day, if there's only so many readers, there's only so far it could go. And pretty much what I'm trying to say is that a lot of these series, yeah, they're going to come and go really quick. And that's probably what Shonen Jump is actually looking at. Like, well, it's a gamble, because on one hand, yes, that means that we're going to have to put these series to bed a lot earlier. But again, it gets to focus on the anime. And I think moving forward, what's really happening, and it's starting to open my eyes as to where the importance is being placed on, as I've said multiple times, is the fact that the anime is where all the money is really coming from them, and probably in their point of view, in terms of like, yo, a manga volume in Japan goes for like $2. Like, so even if they sell, let's just say 5 million copies of a manga, that's crazy, $10 million. Once you start splitting it, the mangaka got to get his cut, everybody gets their cut and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? It starts skimming down. With the anime, well, yes, a lot of people, they work on that. Most of the time, a lot of these people, they don't get residuals. Animators, they get very, very slim pickings, which is something that needs to change as well. But nevertheless, if they're putting all of the importance that we were looking at, like, yo, they really care about the manga, and now they're like, hey, we got the manga, we're running to the anime, they're going to shoot themselves in the foot, because eventually, if they don't have any more that are going to match that, now they got to wait. Now, if this era was a short-lived era that is kind of gone, then essentially when all of these series that are already starting to be on the decline, 5-6 volumes in, start to completely fizzle out, we're waiting now for some of these other series that aren't going to be able to do this, that are going to have to take the long play of, building up and getting popular over time and working towards that sales mark, which will leave us vacant of anything that really stands out, and ultimately will leave us at a place of not the best place. And if you think I'm exaggerating on this, again, looking at Kaiju number 8, I remember I was thinking like, yo, Spy Family, kind of the latest volume, didn't sell as much as the previous one, and the anime's out now. Back catalog's a different story, but again, with the new volumes, they ideally are supposed to sell more each and every volume. So the fact that I saw, I was like, okay, that's a little bit down. Likewise with Tokyo Revengers, but then I started noticing, and I was looking at some of the other series that again do the long play thing, and majority of the time the long play thing takes a while. Like, look at Full Metal Alchemist. It took 4 or 5 volumes before it really started hitting waves. Look at Kingdom, how many volumes it freaking took for Kingdom. Marimashita Iruma-kun, that's a pretty popular series. It took a long time. Some of these ones that they blow up quick and they fizzle out. Another one, Wotakoi, look, from volume 1 to 2 it blew up, and then once again it starts to fizzle out. And it could very well be that they already have planned for this, and they understand that they're going to take care of the situation as it approaches. Shonen Jump may have just stepped in big time, and this could bring serious repercussions in terms of you might not have anything that's going to be really that popular mainstream to talk about with a lot of people for a while, which trickles down, and there's just so much more to it. But honestly, I'm very curious what you guys think. Do you think that looking at this the way it is right now, in terms of like they have these series that they blew up real quick, they're already fizzling out, and now we got to start series now that are going to blow up eventually, is it going to be too vacant? Like, what is your whole thoughts on the situation right now in terms of the manga industry? Because a lot of series, a lot of publishers were following suit on this big blow it up immediately, and now it's like And speaking of things that is going to get fans upset, My Hero Academia fans are probably going to look at this section and be like, no, because in case you don't know, one of the biggest things about the anime the last couple seasons, I want to say ever since season 4, the first 3 seasons, I never heard a peep of this. It wasn't until season 4 where I started to notice and fans started to call this out, that the anime has been very heavily affected by them creating movies on the side. It's been pretty much that, hey, if there's a movie coming out, we know that My Hero Academia season ain't gonna look that great. We had it with season 4 where there was certain points where Mirio, the fights wasn't all that great, and then season 5, do I really need to get into the catastrophe of what they did with My Villain Academia, rearranging arcs just so that they could line up with the release of the film? Like, that film, World Heroes Mission, it really affected things of that season of the anime. And then in case you missed this, I'll inform you that pretty much there was a leak that came out that supposedly, and it was really reliable, My Hero Academia was going to have this 10 movie plan over 10 years. Pretty much, I believe that came out shortly after either the last film or the one before that. It was either the second or third film that this came out, that, yo, we got this 10-year plan, and a lot of people were like, 10-year plan? And then on top of that, right now, as it stands, Kohei Horikoshi announced that he was trying to end the manga, or he was trying to get to that climax and whatnot by the end of this year, early next year. On top of the fact that, again, My Hero is getting a lot of negative feedback for the anime because of the existence, just the very existence of these movies. And Shonen Jump was like, yo, dog, aha, we got it. We know exactly. Y'all are sick of those My Hero Academia movies affecting your anime experience. experience because we're cutting the budgets and we're cutting the team so that some could work on the movie and some could work on the anime. We know how we're gonna fix it. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? They're no longer movies. There's something else now. We're gonna call them OVA. Now, in case you've never heard of an OVA, original video animation, essentially these are usually like small episodes. Oftentimes it'll be like, hey, something that doesn't necessarily fit within the constructs of the story, or it's just like a loose story or something funny. Over time they started taking those little OVAs and adding them as bonus episodes to like be able to sell the Blu-rays and DVDs. And now apparently My Hero Academia is going to be airing original video animations in theaters, but they're not movies, they're OVAs. My Hero Academia will be receiving 2 new OVAs screened in theaters. The first one delivered summer 2022. No details on the second work have been revealed. And then another one says My Hero 2 OVAs announcement page and Hero League Baseball OVA key visual in issue number 24. So one of them is going to be like a baseball themed one. In case you don't know, in Japan, baseball is very big. But it sounds like, and I'm still going to stick to this, and I'm just throw this in here, we'll talk about it in a different video. More than likely, My Hero, I can almost guarantee the reason why it's feeling the way it is right now is we're getting that time skip guaranteed. That 10-year plan is still in effect. And what they're deciding to do is either A, because of where My Hero is at right now, is in a kind of weird transitional stage of like wrapping up and possibly getting to that next point. They're like, yo, movies right now isn't the best thing. On top of fans don't really want the movies right now. How about we take what we was going to do for a movie, maybe cut that in half or add a little extra like what we would have done and put out 2 OVAs, so to speak. That way it's not movies. Fans can't say, hey, they're doing more movies, even though it's literally the same thing, and anybody that has a brain can catch on. But sometimes people don't link the two and they think it's a different experience and they could just get bamboozled. It's just, y'all know, average people that aren't really deep into any of this stuff, they don't understand it. In fact, sometimes they just think, oh, another movie. They don't really care for those people that want more movies. And it's like, yo, dog, I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. If this thing, this baseball OVA, is going to affect the quality of what is supposed to be the next arc of the anime, then throw it in the trash. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. I respect, and I'm not by any means trying to disrespect the people that worked on this. I'm simply directing that energy towards the people that make these decisions that know that, yo, if you would have just probably put your best foot forward with this and really gave it like that top-notch art and animation, you probably could have done a Marine Ford effect of like what happened with One Piece, where you just blow this shit up and it just becomes the biggest thing ever. Instead, they decided to have some baseball OVAs. Like, what? I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm still like looking at this like not necessarily puzzled, but just like, why? Call it a rant in the middle of FORNEVER News or whatever you want. Nobody wants that shit. Everybody wants the anime to be 10 out of 10. That's it. That's what we want. We want the anime 10 out of 10 and the manga to be really, really good, of course, leading into the anime being 10 out of 10. That's what we want. We don't want baseball OVAs. We don't want more movies. I don't want roadie. I don't want none of that shit. Give me a good anime, please, like you did with the first 3 seasons. The first 3 seasons, oh my god. Mwah. Then it goes season 4 and it's like, then season 5 is like, wow. And if you really want to hear wow, get ready for this one, because you may have heard of the 7 deadly sins, right, lad? You either love it or hate it at this particular point, depending on what your experience was with it. If you're just like a strictly anime-only person, you're probably absolutely disgusted at the experience you had going from grade A, A1 Pictures, literally A1 Studios, doing the animation, to what Studio Dean did, where it looked like they just had like eaten a can of beans and was farting and drawing when they did this. Because according to this, it says here, Four Knights of the Apocalypse is getting a TV anime series. Now, if you don't know what Four Knights of the Apocalypse is, it's a spin-off of the 7 Deadly Sins. To my knowledge, from what I remember reading off the first chapter, I think, or 2, did I read 2? I know I read the first one for sure. It wasn't like with the kids of Meliodas and them. I think they are going to be a part of it, but I remember the main character was not like related to any of them, or didn't at the time, at the very least, come across like he was directly related. Maybe I was totally off and not really thinking or whatever, but like I didn't really feel like he was all that related. So it's an interesting thing. But one of the big things that I'm thinking of is, wait a minute, didn't Netflix announce those terrible freaking 3D CG films that they were doing? There was supposed to be 2 of them. So now not only that is coming from Netflix, which I don't know if this is going to be Netflix, more than likely is, they have that deal, but is this coming, and is this going to be with Netflix too, the Four Knights of the Apocalypse? Like what's going on here? Because if I'm just being honest, if this is going to be a full-on 3D CG animation type of anime, like connected straight with the other one, and that's their goal, soul, I'm not watching it. I'm flat out. Like, I'm at a different stage in my life where I'm not gonna just roll over. Like, I don't care how good it is unless it looks like Arcane levels. I don't care how good the story is. I'm not watching if it's straight up looking like what those films look like they're gonna look like, which is bad, just flat out bad. And if that's the Four Knights of the Apocalypse, which I'm not gonna lie, want to see it, I'm interested. I loved what I read with the first chapter, but if you're gonna give me that, or if you're not gonna give me anything other than just your best foot forward, just keep it. And I mean, I'm looking at this here, there's a poster where the VAs talk about the announcement, and on it, like, it looks like regular animation, but that don't really mean anything. And you have the main character and what looks like Meliodas behind him. Obviously it's a spin-off, so you're gonna have Meliodas in it, but honestly, again, if they botch this one, if it's not to the quality that I want and expect for something really dope, if they don't do like, honestly, they could literally use Boruto as a teachable moment, right? You know how Boruto gets a lot of hate, how like the anime, when it goes into anime original, everybody despises it and it gets all of that hate and stuff like that. Like, they could learn from that and say, why don't we just make a seasonal high quality anime, 12 episodes a year, Four Knights of the Apocalypse, high quality, and boom, and I will love it, and I will support it, I will watch it, I will make a video praising it. So hopefully they get that in their mind before they drop this, because again, if it's a 3D CG project, I'm just not watching. I'm sorry, I'm not watching. Now, the voice actors in anime, their case is getting even more interesting as things are unfolding regarding the anime industry and what's really going on, especially in particular in the West, because some data was recently released in terms of the amount of people that work on episodes, all sorts of stuff. Really dope article, I believe, over on crunchyroll.com, courtesy of them. Shout outs to them. And it gave a lot of insights on different variables of just information from the series and all of that good stuff, people that worked on it, yada yada. And in case you don't know, there's been a lot of controversy back and forth between the voice actors in anime, the writers. There's just been so many things happening where it's like, yo, dog, there's just a lot of unhappy workers. And then this information came out and had me thinking, like, yeah, they have even more of a point now, and if they push this forward and people start to look at it, they're gonna be like, oh, the voice actors aren't bugging. Like, yeah, they have a point. Because it says here, behind every raw declaration and tearful goodbye was an incredible voice actor giving it their all. And this is in reference to Attack on Titan's final season. Just strictly the final season of Attack on Titan. Not talking about the first 3 seasons and all that. Just strictly the final season of Attack on Titan. And we got an infograph here, and it says, for the English dub, get ready for this, the English dub of Attack on Titan, the final season, there were 829 credits. And what they mean by that, if I'm not mistaken, is that there was 829 characters that had to be credited, whether it be all the people of Marley, all of that good stuff that were voicing. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the credits is in reference to the amount of people that, you know, voiced. And out of the 829 credits, 205 were unique voice actors. So if that was all characters that were credited, 829, and 205 voice actors did 829 characters, that is astronomically insane. That's literally having 4 jobs in one for every actor, basically. And then on the Japanese side of things, it's 616 credits and 106 unique voice actors. So their situation, while, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say their situation is probably not as great, but the difference between it, and, you know, big difference between it, is that English dub voice actors, they usually get about $120 for about 2 hours of work, and they may never get a call again, or, you know, it's just very up in the air. Japanese voice actors over there in Japan, from my understanding, they're compensated very well. They're treated like how, you know, in the West, we treat like celebrities like Will Smith, Chris Rock, like, you know, nobody shuts up about them. Like, we treat them like that. Over there in Japan, they're the same way. So somebody like, you know, the voice actress of Naruto, the voice actress of Goku, like, they're looked at as, you know, rock stars over there. They're looked at as very big deals, and they get paid accordingly. However, over here, you know, the English dub voice actors, sometimes we look at them, right? And I like to give both sides of the spectrum. I understand a lot of people to this day are very upset with some of the voice actors because of X, Y, and Z, the Vic Mignogna case, all of that stuff. Like, I get you guys' frustration and whatnot and why you're upset about the voice actors, but there's a part of it to say that, yo, have we just looked at how the voice actors, the English dub voice actors in the West for anime, how they've been treated since the beginning of time? Like, not even just recently, since the beginning of time, since English dub became a thing. For starters, one of the biggest things was everybody always used to say, especially in the 90s and early 2000s, and even some still do now. I'd say now they're very unreasonable to say this, but people said in the 90s and 80s and all of that other stuff that those dubs were horrible, that those were unwatchable dubs, and there was a lot of validity to that. There was a lot of times, like, you know, the old big green Dragon Ball dub. That was absolutely garbage. That was a terrible, terrible dub. But nevertheless, just imagine you coming into this industry. Maybe you love this. Maybe you don't know that, you're just getting a shot. So now you take the job, you do the role, and you got to get constantly slammed and told that you suck. You suck, and you have to accept that these fans are nonstop going to tell you suck. And they're not really fans, actually, because, if that's all you want to do is tell somebody that they suck. So now you have these people that they just have vitriol for you of telling you suck. You got to accept it. It's the commonality for years and years and years. Anime dub actors, no respect given for them. So then they get to certain positions now, and anime is blowing up, and they're still like, everybody else in other fields is getting respect. They're getting the pay, and we're still looked at as ragtag. Yes, there's some validity for them to be upset. Yes, there's a reason why some of them will be bitter, angry, feel they didn't get their just dues, because it's really unfair and really corny to be like, imagine you on a hit show that plays every single day, syndicated on TV, like back in the days with Dragon Ball Z. Sean Schimmel and all of them, they didn't get residuals. They don't get residuals to that, to my knowledge, unless they struck the greatest deal in the world. They don't get residuals. They don't get like a check for every box set sold or every time it plays on TV. They don't get any of that. So imagine you compartmentalize all of that into, yo dog, yes, they're going to feel mad. They're going to feel like they got the short end of the stick, and all they wanted to do was voice in these cartoons that they enjoyed. Some of them I just took on a job. It turned into a career, and I really love it, but the fans, they've treated them like shit for a long time. So I understand when these English voice actors, to a certain degree, get upset about things. Now, obviously, there's various situations where we don't need to go into that. Yeah, there's more of a nuance to it, but in terms of English voice actors, I do gotta feel like a part of my heart goes out to them of they've always been treated like crap. So how are you expecting them to feel any different and act any different when you treated them like y'all second-class citizens in every facet? And just quickly to read a little piece of that article, it says, infographic, Attack on Titan final season by the numbers. In the few years I've spent as a number guys over at My Anime List and Funimation, and this is by, so look, we could get this clear, Liam Dempsey, which I'm almost certain Dempsey ain't your last name, but do the Dempsey role, my guy. In the years I poured over seas of databases, spreadsheets, and episodes to cover all kinds of truly groundbreaking stats, examining everything from how people skip JoJo's Bizarre Adventure parts to tallying up every way Ram insults Subaru in ReZero Starting Life in Another World. My guy, doing God's work. So here's my first deep dive into the new waters at Crunchyroll. It felt right to tackle something just as monumental. Attack on Titan final season has been rumbling through the anime community the last year and a half. And again, it's just different stats. Like, over the last 28 episodes, 78% of it was in the present, 22% was in the past. And this is a fantastic breakdown of everything. But the biggest one, honestly, if I'm just keeping it real, again, is poor voice actors, man. Like, Japanese voice actors, maybe they might have the same amount of work. Maybe they might have more. I can't really do the math off the top of my head right now. But I will say that they're getting paid to have a struggle. The English voice actors aren't getting paid to do 4 roles a person. They're not. They're not even getting paid properly to do 1 role a person. We've got a little bit of interesting drama going on in the community right now. In case you don't know, there's a YouTuber that goes by the name Eyepatchwolf. I believe Eyepatchwolf, forgive me. But they're a content creator that they talk about a bunch of different things, but a lot of anime and manga related videos. And one that they kind of consistently do is where they kind of dive into our waters and talk about like what's going on in Shonen Jump right now, the magazine or whatnot. And they recently released a video basically saying, hey, this is our yearly trip to Manga City of the current state of Shonen Jump 2022. And interestingly enough, in case you guys don't know, a lot of the news that I get to you guys is from the Unofficial Weekly Shonen Jump Twitter account. Shout outs to them. They are just fabulous. Honestly, they're just amazing. They just bring all of this information. You can't do anything else but be grateful that, like, yo, they exist. Like, shout outs to the Unofficial Weekly Shonen Jump account over on Twitter. Well, according to them, they disagreed with Super Eyepatchwolf's video recently, and there was a little bit of a stir because they never really step out of character. The Unofficial Weekly Shonen Jump Twitter account, they rarely speak other than, hey, here's the news, here's the news, here's the news. So when they actually have an opinion on something or, spark back, it's because there's some validity to what they have to say, in my opinion, because I trust them. They constantly have, their finger on the pulse, and I wanted to share their counteract. So for people that maybe feel a way about watching Super Eyepatchwolf's video on, the current state of Shonen Jump, maybe you can see a little bit of a different twist, because I like to rep for, you know, them, the Unofficial Weekly Shonen Jump Twitter account. So let's read what they had to say about the video. While we believe this video and overall format can be a fantastic initial entry into the Shonen Jump world, we also think there are many misconceptions stated and spread due to the insane reach of this investigation work. Shonen Jump can't be analyzed with just sales data, which is indeed an important factor to keep in mind, but as we've known for years, magazine popularity and certain other unknown variables are taken into consideration when it comes to deciding what works live and what works end. This is one of the very answers to the point stated at different moments in the video of not knowing why some series die. As much of an incognita it can be, a thorough following of TOC news, promotions, and narrative can give an even better, more accurate, and actually objective insight into the future of both works and the very magazine. That is true. Like, one of the things that when I come here and I tell you guys, whether you feel like I'm coming and being the doom and gloom police or not, is, hey, I'm giving you guys my opinions, my thoughts based on facts that we cover every single week here on Forever News, years and years and years. We cover these things, so that's where I can give you guys, hey, I know this based on the author comments, I know this based on the TOC, I know this based on all of the articles, I know this based on the sales numbers. Like, we know a lot over here at Forever News, so we give these insights. And what he's trying to say is basically that supereyepatchwolf wasn't informed enough and wasn't having proper backing for these opinions that he made over on the video. This kind of investment in the whole Jump brand would also fix errors such as comedy series that are not running in the magazine anymore being thought of as still running, series with low sales actually having an acceptable performance magazine wise, and the opposite, acceptable sales with low popularity metrics. And it's also really important to fully delve into every work, as significant as it may seem, in order to understand the whole behavior of this environment and what the magazine is trying to achieve with them. None of the factors listed will ever determine the exact fate of each series, since such an unstable environment in which series come and go sometimes really suddenly can change from one week to another the overall behavior and performance of any running work. And again, that's just facts. Literally 2 years ago, you couldn't tell anything to a My Hero fan. In 2022, after a couple things happened, now a lot of people aren't on board with it. Likewise with Black Clover, and from one week to another, perfect example, Black Clover went from people saying they're dropping it, it's the worst series ever, the last chapter before it goes on break, everybody's like, I can't wait for it to come back, this is so great, that was the best chapter the series had of all time. Like, anything can change at a drop of a hat, and something that is constantly updating every single day, like Weekly Shonen Jump magazine. There will always be precedents and patterns, but those can very well be broken many times the more works we keep seeing serialized. Our objective with this message is nothing other than to give feedback on a kind of content that is already a good tool, but can become an even greater one in order to introduce people to this amazing manga environment, not only from a reader's subjective perspective, but also by analyzing how series survive, how series are greenlit, and how the overall magazine functions. As a community that has been trying to show and at the same time learn how this complex system evolves over the years, we really hope upcoming content like this gets more polished and strives for as much accuracy as possible in the future. We're also open to any questions. Good luck with your future work. And just shout outs to the Unofficial Weekly Shonen Jump Twitter account. That was really dope of them to give their insights and feeling as though, like, hey, if the information is inaccurate, you got to come in and correct it. So shout outs to them. And yeah, go check them out if you got any questions about it. And while we're on the topic of Jump, we got some new manga coming to Shonen Jump. We got a bunch of different things, and in particular one that I'm like, yo, dog! This author that is returning to Shonen Jump magazine, I'm calling it right now. I said it on Twitter, and I'm going to say it one more time here on a video. I feel once this author gets serialized, full-on serialized, because we're going to talk about some one-shots that are coming and all that stuff, but a full-on serialization, I feel within the next 3 to 4 years, this author can be the biggest thing in Shonen Jump, or one of the biggest things in Shonen Jump, a la somebody like the author of My Hero, Koei Horikoshi, Yuki Tabata, author of Black Clover. I feel like this could be the same scenario with this author, because, in case you don't know, there's a weekly Shonen Jump upcoming one-shot round. Issue number 24 will be Mangaka no Neko de Aru by Sutsutsi Taishi. I'm not familiar with that author, to be honest with you. But then issue number 25 is Cho Neraware Taishitsu no Ore ga Sute Secret. Oh my god, just alone it looks like a really long title, like a light novel or something. And that's by Hayashi Seiji. And yeah, that title is really, really long. But the third one shot is where I'm like, yo, dog, I'm reading this, and I highly recommend, if you want something that's probably going to be good, you should check it out, because issue number 26 is going to be bringing Nande Nanda-san by Kawaguchi Yuki. And in case you don't know who Kawaguchi Yuki is, they just recently were in Shonen Jump, and they're already coming with a one-shot after kind of unfortunately getting canned, getting the axe, and that's the author of Hunters Guild Red Hood. In case you ain't read the Hunters Guild Red Hood, especially the ending and how meta it was and beautifully done, the author of the Hunters Guild Red Hood is very talented. That series was very good. It was very misguided, and the author, in other words, subliminally basically said, hey, it was Weekly Shonen Jump's editorial department that screwed us over. It was basically my editor that screwed me over. In other words, using the narrative of the last couple chapters, some people may disagree, but it was so meta, talking about editors revising the story, messing things up, that it felt like, yo dog, it was straight up him saying, this is what happened, this is why we got canned, because the Hunters Guild Red Hood was awesome, and it looks like they're coming back again for a one-shot. Nande Nanda-san by Kawaguchi Yuki, 3 issues from now, issue number 26, and I'm encouraging you, if you can read it, and hopefully that one is good enough to get serialized, and when it drops, I will check that one out as well. I feel like this could very well be, and maybe I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but this could very well be, again, going from Barrage to My Hero for Kohei Horikoshi, going from Hungry Joker to Black Clover for Yuki Tabata, Red Hood, Hunters Guild Red Hood to Nande Nanda-san. I don't know what that means, actually, the name of it, and if it got serialized, they'd probably change it, because Nande Nanda-san, and just looking at the image from Nanda Nanda-san real quick for Kawaguchi, there's a picture right there as well. It kind of looks similar to the Red Hood art. I'm reading it. But yes, people, I am very, very geeked and very excited for Yuki Kawaguchi to return. Hopefully it's even better than Hunters Guild Red Hood. Next up, a small couple stories that you're probably just gonna be like, yo, what's good? Undead Unluck number 109. It was a cover page that says RIP, and I don't know if it's spoilers or anything at all. It doesn't appear to be spoilers, but just off the cover alone, this looks absolutely sick, and I really hope Undead Unluck doesn't like take a wrong turn and just randomly they pull a siren and stop it before it gets an anime or something. Like, Undead Unluck is just, it looks like it's knocking, man, and I haven't caught up in a good minute. And also, in other news, Dr. Stone will be getting a stage play July 2022, so yeah, it's so bizarre that they pushed back the Dr. Stone anime. We was really supposed to get that anime this summer. I know, I'm damn sure that they were supposed to, and probably they canned it, and I don't know where they just had to switch things. Again, going back to the previous story of what the unofficial Weekly Shonen Jump Twitter account said, is that, yo, things change very quickly. A series can be planned to do this, and the next minute it's gone. Promise Neverland, I'm damn sure that they probably initially didn't think like they were gonna do what they ultimately did with season 2. They were probably gonna give it a good anime adaptation, and then probably sales went down, and Jump was playing around like, yo, we gonna end it, we got this new idea of what we doing, and they're like, yo, but that's not gonna help promote, and they're like, yo, but we're blowing shit up, you don't understand, and they're like, okay. And then the Phantom Seer artist Matsuda Kento illustrated the cover of skateboarding coming of age novel Skate Rat ni Kasai. So if you've been itching to see a little bit of Phantom Seer art lately, here you go. That was another one that I was like, why did they cancel it? And in other small unrelated news, One Piece by Eiichiro Oda has sold 30.4 million units in France, becoming the first manga series to reach 30 million copies over there, with volume 101 releasing that day. That's crazy. One Piece is the highest selling manga in France too, right? 30 million, and it's the first manga to do that. If you don't know, now you know. And since we're on the topic of sales, let's jump into the top 50 best selling manga of the week, courtesy of Jos_Ke. And rounding out 50 is My Dress Up Darling Volume 9 with 10,515 sales, total 280. That one had a really good season. Like, the anime really blew that shit up. I gotta give it props. By the way, the cover of this one, Nozomano Fushi no Bokensha, the colors of it just looks freaking fabulous. Then going up a little bit, we got at number 44 Jujutsu Kaisen volume 18. What the hell is that? Manga de Wakaru Fate Grand Order. Oh my god, a Fate Grand Order volume at 43. Volume 18 doing 12,000. Okay. Then let's jump over to volumes or places 40 through 31. At 40, A Familiar Face with Tokyo Revengers Volume 26. Still hasn't hit a million. It's getting there. It's getting there, lads. It's getting there. Then going up, we got a couple of Detective Conan at 33 and 34. Still selling even more. That little spin-off anime they did is clearly working because, yeah, it's pushing numbers. Then we got 30 through 21. At number 28, Atelier of Witch Hat Volume 10 with 17,047. Again, that's one that I've been meaning to get into. I heard that it's really good and the art always looks great. We got at number 26, Call Me Can't Communicate Volume 25. Number 24, Spy Family Volume 1 through 3 with 18,000 this week, bringing its total to 146,000. Pretty good stuff. And then top 20 or 20 through 11, a lot of unknowns. I'm not even gonna lie. Ikoku Nikki Volume 9. We got Takopi's Original Sin, which I want to say that one's actually like doing really well in sales. Takopi's Original Sin Volume 2, 26,000. We got Conan Volume 101. In 12 days now, it has sold a total of 374,000. That's a big one. One Piece and Conan, that's crazy. They're both right there, 101 volumes. It's nuts. Then Spy Family showing that anime is doing gangbusters because volumes 1 through 3, 42,000, 43,000, 44,000, bringing all of them to 1.8, 1.7, 1.6. Jeez, oh my god, the top 10. I just flipped over to the top 10 like, wow. One Piece at number 10, wrapping up the top 10, and in 20, okay, One Piece still in the top 10 in a month. That's really, really good, actually. You know, that's great. 28 days, 45 this week, 1.5 in total. That's really good. Golden Kamuy Volume 29. 13 days, 49,000. Then we got a whole bunch of Spy Family Volume 7, 6, 5, 4, 8. Jeez, this is literally Spy. Again, the anime blow up. So, you know, going back to a previous thing is, who knows, maybe they don't care about those first week sales that much after it goes for so long and it starts diving down, because they know when the anime comes for like kaiju, it's gonna blow shit back up. So maybe that's their whole mindset as well, because gosh darn it, top 3, you got Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 19 at number 3 with 77,000, 1.49. Number 2, Tokyo Revengers Volume 27, 91 this week, bringing its total to 719. Wow, that's nuts. And then number 1, Spy Family Volume 9, 105,000, bringing its total in a month to 1,007,000. Like, wow. Even if the first week sales for these series are like dipping a little bit and the volumes are dipping piece by piece, once the anime come back, it does give me like, okay, at the very least the anime will bring them back up for a while. And again, if that's the whole thing that the manga industry is betting on, their anime really doing the work in 2022. Now let's take a quick look at the weekly Shonen Jump author comments, lad. For starters, we got Blue Exorcist, which, by the way, that's not a weekly Shonen Jump. They occasionally put their comment in, though. And it says, sorry for the uneasy turn of events in the manga as soon as we got back. So, is like Blue Exorcist going crazy off rip? I don't know. I haven't read it in a long time. We got Twin Star Exorcist author. I haven't seen this author in forever. Our workplace is finally able to operate fully remotely. So, wow, they're really going to stick remotely with a lot of these studios. That's interesting, I guess you would say. We got One Piece, Eiichiro Oda. I'm currently addicted to konnyaku yam cakes. They're great in cold noodle dishes and udon. Miso dengaku is the best. I don't eat any of that. We got Jujutsu Kaisen's Gege Akutami. I'm celebrating announcer Hana Isogai's new journey in life and wishing her the best in future events. No idea what that means either, lads. Author of Sakamoto Days, Yuto Suzuki. This week's Jump Plus and Giga feature work from Iwakura and Yuki-chan-san. Check them out. That's dope. Putting, you know, probably people that work with him and whatnot. That's cool. We got Gen Osuka from Doran Dororan. I'm in Jump with a friend from my student days. Amazing. Congrats, Hiraken. Marshall's Hajime Komodo. I'm putting this off, but I hope to be able to throw a slider before I die. Jeez. Talk about morbid as hell. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Really? And then coming in dead last in the TLC, never a good thing, makes me worried, is Ayashimon by Yuji Kaku. I'm rewatching The Simpsons. Homer's voice always makes me laugh. I don't know, man. I can't call it if Ayashimon is going to stick around or not. I got to keep on stressing. Protect Me Shugamaru, probably out of here. Doran, probably out of here. Ayashimon, because once again, it's back at the bottom. Like, we just was speaking about how it was going up, and it looks like, hey, maybe they're more susceptible to it. Now it's back at the bottom. And to wrap this episode up for Never News, we got one final story. In case you don't know, Japan is going to start potentially letting tourists back in. I remember hearing about this, that I believe it was like Pewdiepie. Pewdiepie has been like dying to go to Japan, and he hasn't been able to go, and like because of this whole, you know, the pandemic and everything, they had restrictions. Well, according to this, it says that Japan to ease foreign travel restrictions further in June. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida revealed in a speech in London on Thursday that Japan will ease foreign travel COVID-19 restrictions further in June. He stated, "We have now eased border control measures significantly within the next easing taking place in June, when Japan will introduce a smoother entry process similar to that of other G7 members. Japan is working on reopening its economy. A panel of experts are beginning and discussing to review its response to the COVID, with a report coming as early as June." So, Pewdiepie, maybe this summer you can finally have your dream come true and you can make your way to Japan. And yes, people, those were all the stories we had for today's episode. Curious what you guys think. Most important story, favorite story, anything I didn't mention and you're like, yo, Fornev, please mention it. Let me know. That's all I have for this one. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in. And yeah, you guys just watched another episode of Forever News. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I'm just saying, what you waiting for? Do it.
To